Let's review this game. So the game started with London system, and let's see. So bishop f5. We play e3. Open up this diagonal, preparing for c4, e6, bishop d3. Trade the bishop. Black pushed pawn to c5. Black wants to challenge the center, and c4. So I would actually recommend play c3 because it's solid. Or can we just take the pawn? I'm thinking, because if black take the pawn, can we play queen b5? Is that a fork? Maybe not. Knight d7, but we can add a knight to e5, or we can win the pawn. The rook cannot go to b8, so we can win the pawn. So probably black will play knight a6 to protect the pawn, to attack the pawn. Yeah, maybe that's the way how black would deal with that. c4, knight c6. Well, I mean, there's no big problem with push the pawn to c4. But we need to be very cautious because there is a lot of exchange happening in the center. And knight c3. Yeah, what about knight b4? Kick our queen. Queen to e2 because we need to protect c2. Then what about d4? We cannot really take the pawn because knight c2. If a3, knight will go to d3. Check our king. And we cannot castle. Yeah, so that's the reason I'm a little bit concerned about push to c4, because knight c6, knight b4, our queen will be kicked. So yeah, maybe we should castle before moving knight c3. At least our king will not be kicked as I shown, knight d3. But knight c3 and black play c d4. We take. So black chose to exchange the pawns. Bishop d6. A lot of piece exchange. I think the position is equalized, but we need to be aware the d4 pawn is a center pawn. It's good, but on the other hand, it's also an isolated pawn. So we need to protect that, and we need to control the c file because this is the only open file on the board. And another thing is because we have the d pawn, so the e5 square is something we can utilize. So the game turned into a middle game. We want to protect the pawn, queen e7, d5. Yeah, I think that's a good move because we can resolve the isolated pawn. Queen takes. Can we take that with the rook? Yeah, maybe it's equally fine. So a lot of piece exchange, and the game was turned into end game very soon. So the game is very equalized. Knight f5, king e2. Well, I think we can take the rook, and black has to take that, and we can move rook to d7. So in endgame, if we can control the 7th rank, we will have a very powerful rook. And if our opponent do like this, so I feel like we can probably move king to e1 if the rook take our pawn, and we can kick the knight. The knight is trapped. Yeah, but it's not easy to find, to be honest. So black could probably, after king e1, black should move the knight or g6, and then we can win b7. Yeah, but it's a little bit complicated. I mean, even though we play rook d2, we are still fine. We are still better than our opponent because after the trade, our king is more active than black king. Okay, so we play king e2, we want to activate the king, that's a good thing. But if the king, rook check our king will go back. And this is what black did. Rook d8. Yeah, now we take the rook. Yeah, that's good. King e2 again. Check and move the king, move the rook further. Okay, so it's ended up as knights plus pawn endgame. But I think our king has a better position. Maybe king to e4 is better than c4 because we can attack the knight. We can force the knight to like a passive position. Okay, king c6, that's a mistake. Our opponent made the mistake. And okay, 95, it's good. We won the pawn, and that's a huge advantage. 96, I think black made a mistake because if black remained both knight on the chessboard, it's more complicated. It's easier for black to get a draw. But after trading the knight, I think white is way better. And I think we are very sure we can win this game. G5, yeah, we do really great. Okay. Then we take all the pawn as a queen side. That's good. Then we will probably have a queen soon. That's good. I think, yeah, I think we won this game because we are better than our opponent at the end game. Especially, we fork the king to win the pawn, and later because our opponent doesn't know the best strategy in the end game. It traded the knights. Let's see, where is that? I think the game started to we are starting to being better than our opponent from these two moves. Just these two moves. 95, we won a pawn, and 96. And after trading the knights, we are certainly to win the game. So only these three moves. I think before the 95 or before black moved king to c6, the game is quite equalized for most of the time. But we are very patient to wait for the opportunity coming to us, and then we capture the opportunity. So yeah, that's a very good game.